Hi Stella, it's Mam here. I'm so happy to wish you the best of luck on your new podcast. It's been a long, long time coming. I'm so proud of you and the hard work that you've put into tech. Right now, the sky is the limit. And as they say, never ever give up. Cheers to you and your listeners. All the best. Love you.
Okay, let's do this. It's happening. It's happening. My name is Stella. I'm the host of the Technically Yes podcast. If you're tuning in, this is the first ever episode of this podcast. And if you're listening to this, you're right on time. I'll just say that. This has been a long time coming. I've been thinking about this podcast for I don't know, well over a year, maybe 2 years now. And it's something that I've wanted to start for quite a bit of time. And I'm just super excited to be here. And I feel like that's even an understatement at this point. It's been a long time coming. I'll just say that. Um, if you're wondering who I am, for those who don't know, my name's Stella. I'm a techie living downtown Toronto. I've been in the tech space for about 3 years, 4 years now. And I'm super passionate about helping people like myself get into the tech space, navigating or helping them navigate their career and finding sort of where they fit into the tech space. So that's really why I'm here. So you might be wondering, what is this podcast all about? Is it a tech podcast? Well, technically, yes. However, I will be going over a lot of different things just in regards to things that are adjacent to your career, related to your career. So I'll also be talking mental health. I'll be talking a little bit about like finances, things like that. But most importantly, I'll be having some really cool people on this podcast that have some incredible stories and really just being able to highlight different journeys within the tech space and showing you guys that you come over to the side. You belong here. There's so many opportunities in the tech space. Um, and I just want to use this platform as a way to highlight that. Um, Really, the biggest reason as to why I'm even starting this podcast is because I kind of got into the tech space a little unconventionally, I'll say. There was a lot of stuff happening in the world, the pandemic, things like that. And I really needed to make the transition into tech. But during that time, there weren't a lot of people around that I could relate to. Like I was going online, I was listening to podcasts, I was on YouTube, I was doing all the things, but there was like no centralized place where I felt like at home, where I felt that there were stories that I really were like drawn to. And most importantly, I just felt like I didn't have a good idea of what the tech space truly had to offer. Like my view on tech was very narrow. And I mean, don't get me wrong. My journey is my journey and I loved it so much. And I just love how I got here. But, I do think back to like the old version of myself, the pre-tech Stella, and like what did she need to hear? What are some things that could like aid me along my journey? So that's really how this whole podcast came about. So needless to say, I'm super, super excited to be here. I have some pretty exciting stuff coming, and yeah, I just can't wait to share it with you guys. Um, so, really and truly, I'm a firm believer that tech is obviously built for the masses, right? But it's really important to ensure that whoever's building out that technology is representative of the population, is representative of those masses, right? And being in the tech space, I'll just give a brief history about like kind of how I got here. So I will be discussing it more in the second episode, but just to give you a little bit of an idea of who I am and how I even got here. So I was working I won't go too far back, but I was working in real estate in Toronto. I was selling real estate. I did that for about 7 years. And in the beginning of my career, I was like obsessed. I loved it so much. And I was super passionate about what I was doing, but life does what life does. And there came a time where just like it wasn't fun for me anymore. I didn't like it. Waking up for work was really tough. And I just simply wasn't passionate about it anymore. I had dabbled a little bit in the tech space, even just going back to like, I mean, if we're going to take it way, way back, I mean, yeah, way back. I was on MySpace. I was making like the scrolling backgrounds. I was adding background music to my friends' MySpace pages. I was manipulating the code on the pages there, and that's really where my I'd say my interest in tech kind of started. But it wasn't until like years later, a good friend of mine and her now husband, um, her husband was teaching at a tech center here in Toronto, and I took some courses there, and it kind of just like grew from there. Pandemic came around, and I really saw it as an opportunity to pivot, and that's pretty much how I got here. I completely left my old career behind. I took a chance on myself. But more importantly than anything, I really allowed myself to pivot. I allowed myself to change my mind. I feel like all too often we feel like we commit to a career or a path or a person, a relationship, whatever. And we feel like because we're here, now we have to do this forever, right? Whether we're happy or not. And I feel like that, I'm so glad that I didn't settle for that. And I really took the opportunity and the time to try something new. And I mean, there's beauty in that pivot because here I am. I must say I am like so happy with where I'm at, and I want other people to experience the same sort of opportunities, the same happiness. I want other people to find that pivot and to be able to, yeah, just do what's best for them, do what's best for your career. You don't have to settle for a job that doesn't value you, that doesn't pay you enough, where you're working literally 24/7, because I've been there. Um, no sleep. And, it was not fun. It was not fun. So that's kind of how I got there in like a nutshell, I should say. But either way, I'm super excited about this podcast. You know, it's just, it's one of those things where I feel like it's definitely needed. And I hope you guys see the value that I'm bringing and the stories that I'll be highlighting and the people that I'll be interviewing. Because really and truly, like the lineup of people that I'll be bringing on, just their journeys, what they've been through, the stories that they have to tell, and just their perspectives, it's super inspiring, even for me. So I'm really looking forward to it. So, what can you expect from this podcast? I will be dropping episodes weekly, every single Wednesday. You'll be able to find, if you're watching me, actually, hello, you'll be able to find me on YouTube. I'll be dropping episodes there, but you'll also be able to listen to this podcast anywhere you listen to your favorite podcasts. So, you'll definitely be able to find that and get a bit of that. And, once again, as I said, I'll be interviewing some really amazing people, but most importantly, we are not our career. And I feel like a lot of times we sort of get caught up in that, and I'm guilty of this, where I tie up my identity way too much to my career. And that is not the goal here. The goal is to, one, be good at what you do and kill it and make a ton of money and do amazing things, but also make sure that everything adjacent to our career, everything that goes on in the background, life, family, all that stuff, that's also well taken care of, because that's important too. As a Black woman in the tech space, I definitely felt very, like, I knew that there was very few of me, not only like a woman, just being a woman of color, but even like women. There wasn't a lot of women at my old company. um, I was the only woman there, and now I work for an amazing company, and my whole pod is literally entire, like, we're all women, which is like insane to me. So I come to work every single day. I mean, we do have a agile coach that is a male, I will say, but like the core of the team is all women, and that makes me so excited because we need more women in the tech space. We're building a technology that is utilized by women, that is utilized by everyone. So it's like we need to ensure that the companies and the corporations are representative of the users at the end of the day. So I'm super excited about that. So yeah, I mean, I think that's pretty much it. Once again, it's short and sweet. It's the first episode. I'm so thankful. I'm so grateful to even be here. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you want to connect with me, or even if you wanted to be on the pod, please connect with me. You can get more information on the podcast at www.technicallyyespod.com. You can also find me on YouTube, as I mentioned, as well as anywhere else that you listen to your favorite podcast. So that is it for this week's episode. I am so excited. I look forward to sharing my personal journey, kind of how I got here more in detail in next week's episode. And until then, stay blessed.